Tom, you want to be the official photographer here?
Yeah, sure.
Get the button on and
You
off?
won't see much if I do it.
Right. Let's call this meeting to order. This is our informal work session. It's 9:31, so only 1 minute late. This is a time when we just discuss with the public or among ourselves anything that comes to mind. I see we have a few from the public that aren't normally here. Does anybody have anything special you want to talk about today? Ken, do you have anything for us today?
Well, the reason I came up today was I submitted a proposal for purchase of a new Echo unit for the, I got a couple of bids, and a Ford and then a Chevrolet. We need to replace the Echo unit that we've currently been using since 2006, before it is no longer serviceable.
Excuse me, Ken, what's an echo unit?
The Echo unit is our paramedic response unit that we use to respond in, to support the volunteers during the day.
It's not the ambulance.
No, sir. It's a non-transport paramedic response unit. And it's right now it's a 2006 Expedition. It's got lights and stickers and it looks really cool. And then the new one we're looking to buy is a 2013 Chevrolet Tahoe. The reason why we're trying to get that now is because we have the money in place through our vehicle replacement fund that we had traditionally through the LGF funding, which I'm still learning about what the demise of that has been. But the money is in place, so we wanted to go ahead and get it, and we're buying it locally through Ballman. Tim Riedel out there worked with us, and the guy that I delegated to help me with that, who's an expert, Matt Gray, who's one of our paramedics. He put all that together, and we've got the bid and everything and the proposal. I submitted that to Stacy at the beginning of the week. And we need to get that up and in service because the one we had was about 120,000 miles on it, and they're pretty tough miles. And I don't want the thing to die, so I'd like to get one in place.
Now, will this take funds away from the replacement of, is the correct word to say the ambulances, or
Right.
whatever they call those? Yeah.
Right.
Will
This
this
is
take funds
from the
away
same.
from that? Or
It is out of the same fund, and what we do is we put 60,000 aside per year to do that. So the way I'd calculated it is, if we take the 30 or 35,000 out this time, at the beginning of the year when the new funds drop in, we'll have enough to buy a new ambulance in January or February next
okay,
year.
so keep everything on the same
Right.
rotation.
And we're trying to do that. And what I did was I spoke to the guys in Green Springs, and the ambulance that's due for replacement is the Green Springs ambulance. And their ambulance is serviceable, it's fine. It is a high mileage unit, because it does travel quite a bit, but it's doing fine. It's well maintained, and waiting 6 months is not really a big deal for them if we can. It's kind of a timing thing. If we replace the Echo now, then at the first of the year we can replace the ambulance. We'll have enough funds in there to replace the ambulance. And really what I'm looking at is nothing's getting any cheaper, obviously. So that if I can buy a 2013 model year in January, I've been pretty lucky so far. We may be able to actually get a deal on an old year model for an ambulance at the first of the year, because nobody buys ambulances in January. So if I can break with that design, then maybe we can actually get us a deal on one of those too. So we're looking forward to that, but initially what we need to do is replace the Echo. So
The Echo is like a support to all of our squads, and if you're familiar with that or not. But
I can write that all up for you guys. I guess I took for granted that the Echo this year is the 5th year of the Echo unit. We've been in service since October of 2008. And really what it does is it mirrors the response of the volunteers, primarily during the day, because, and I know you guys get the out-of-service schedule that we post. If you've noticed, the daytime hours is when we're extremely light on manning and personnel. So that's why we put the Echo in place during the daytime hours. There has been a lot of discussion amongst the volunteers and the chiefs that we could benefit from having one 24 hours a day. And I don't argue that. What I do argue is we don't have the funding for that. The Echo unit is a really good augmentation to our volunteer system. And really what it does is it echoes their response. That's why I called it Echo. Everybody asks what ECHO means. It really doesn't mean anything, it just echoes their response. And that's kind of the way I put that together.
What do we need to make a motion, or how does?
Well,
Right.
Stacy has that on the agenda for later on.
Okay, okay.
Just figured you'd come in
Yeah.
to work session, and that way if you had any questions about it, you can explain. I was gonna help, but you do an excellent
You seem busy.
job.
You seem kind of busy there.
I was
Sorry
really,
about that.
really pleased to see we had 2 new EMTs, and especially one in Green Springs.
Right, we have one of our paramedics, he's actually a paramedic, Jeff Furman Jr., who I've known for about 15 years. He was an EMT driver with us at Lifelight through North Central EMS in Bellevue. And he's been going to paramedic school a little bit part-time while he was working. And now he's fully graduated up as a full-fledged national registered paramedic, and he's interested in running in Green Springs with us.
It's fantastic. Green Springs is one of our lightest, we struggle most to keep manpower up there, plus it's our busiest with the nursing home.
Right. And also another one there is Justin Wallace, and Justin is a full-time paramedic in Sandusky County. He lives in Green Springs proper.
Okay,
And he came to me and said, I can help you out if you need help.
great.
And I actually offered him a job on the Echo, and we're gonna be putting him on board as an Echo unit paramedic. He's got about 10 years' experience as a paramedic. And as we know in any of these, the small squads, fire departments, sometimes there's attitudes between people and whatever. But as those kind of go away, people find that, and Justin's gonna be working with us, and he's always been interested, he just never has had the time. Now, I think he does in his career, now he does. He'll be an excellent addition as well. And to let you know, Holly, the job fair worked out pretty good for us. I probably had about 10, maybe 12 calls from that. So I'm in the process of getting them all the information that they need and seeing how interested they really are. You know, we put the tools in their hands to get that education and to come on board if they want to. And if they're serious about it, they'll follow through on it. So I gave them all the information they needed, and I gave them the numbers and the contacts. And we do have a couple that I think are pretty serious. And you know, if we can get 10 of them, I'd be giddy. So
Very nice article in the paper the other
Yeah.
day.
thank you,
It
sir.
was real nice. Thank for the AT for doing that.
Yeah. And I spoke to Erica on that. There was only one misquote, and she put in a correction in on that. So, and that was just an hours versus dollars thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's because Zach didn't cover it. If Zach would have covered it, there'd have been no mistake.
Well, thanks for your time. I didn't mean to
Well,
eat
thank
up so
you,
much of it.
thank you. Did you have something, Sharon?
I'm here with Kathy with Chaplain Corps.
Okay, would you like to?
We were very much interested in the old youth center. Where we are now, we just are running out of so much room. We do so many services and we need a bigger building, because right now we're in the Laird Arcade. So if you'd like to know some of the things that we do, I'm gonna give you the services that we provide. The first objective of SC3 is to provide training in chaplaincy with emphasis in domestic violence, death notification, and critical incident stress management and debriefing. We also provide services in the following: the victim advocacy and mediation, pastoral counseling for marriage and grief and loss, debriefing for the military, critical incident, and the public. We have SC3 addiction recovery, life coaching, anger management, parenting, law enforcement, fire and emergency response. We have disaster response, trainings in CISM and certified CISM debriefing teams. This is just a part of what we do. We also help the homeless. Many times when somebody's out of prison, they have no place to go. We provide hotel rooms for them until they can get their feet back where they need to be. We have food pantry, which is 24/7, unlike most of them. I mean, we have calls in the middle of the night, and it's no problem for us to provide that service as well. We have so many. We have walk-ins all the time. We're just constantly busy. We are 24/7. So.
Well, they've been doing this for a few years, and right now they're, as Kathy indicated, they're on the second floor of the Laird Arcade building. They're busting the seams up there. And Tracy Elder, Chaplain Elder, would be here today, but she's in Oklahoma because that's what she does. She's been to Ground Zero when that tragedy happened. She was down when Katrina went through, and now she's out in Oklahoma. And she puts people together and trains them to be chaplains to be able to help folks in time of need. She does a wonderful service for our county. we call her out to fire scenes, the crash that happened last week, the tragedy of those two young boys that were killed. They were contacted, and they come out and they give aid to the firefighters and the EMTs, cool water to drink, or when it's cold, something warm to drink. Also provides debriefing that Kathy talked about. When the fire went through that home here a while back and took the lives of the 5 individuals in it, she got the firefighters and the EMTs together to talk about that, to help them through that process. I mean, their group just does an amazing thing. If we have somebody that needs a place to stay, we contact Tracy, and they'll write a voucher for them to stay overnight somewhere, and then try to help get them some transportation the next day to get them to where they need to go. Like I say, they're just, when she called me last week, she asked if there was a possibility. She saw that what you guys talked about in board, and said there's a possibility that maybe they could let us use that building. She's indicated she's already spoken to Rich Foat about funding that would be available to help do some sprucing up of the building out there. And talking to Tanya this morning a little bit, she said that she thought that in getting ready for demolition that the power and the plumbing was cut. I don't know what it would take to get it hooked back up. I'd have to talk to Dean to see what they actually did. But Tanya also brought up another building out there that Jobs and Family used to use, if that was a possibility. I don't know if it's comparable to the size of what they have now, but they really need something a little bigger. I've been up a couple times when she has spoke to individuals that gave them training for this. There's just so many things that they do in the county here that's a plus for Seneca County. And being a representative now out in Oklahoma, and they know where she comes from, that we have, she has the sheriff's office full support in what she does, and her group does. So we would hope you guys would consider maybe helping her out a little bit and providing a little bigger place for her to move into, so she can continue to do what she does and maybe expand. Tracy's a go-getter. I mean, she sets her sights on something and she goes after it. She does a really good job, and so does the staff that she has with her. So I'll quit talking. I didn't talk as long as Ken did, but I'll keep it short.
My question, are we legal, can we do that? Can the county, can we allow a non-county entity to move in one of our vacant buildings, or is that legal?
With a release agreement or something, or whatever the dollar figure is or isn't, but yeah, because we do have non-county entities in some of our buildings now.
And you talked about something down there at the old bank building with business.
Okay, yeah, but that was a paying entity. This would
Yeah.
be,
Well-
we would just,
Well, they're paying rent somewhere across the road. I assume there'd be some rent involved. Well,
There's a couple spots in the DJFS building, which is much be what they reference. I know that I've seen, right? A couple
Yeah,
different
we went
sections,
out there
those are,
once.
we
Yeah.
went that day and looked.
Yeah.
She also liked the idea that the youth center had a small kitchen in it that could prepare small meals.
I guess the condition of that building, I mean, I know you'd be grateful for whatever, I'm sure, but it was just,
the condition is great. I
It is so
talked to
rough.
Tracy over the weekend about this. So then I talked to maintenance folks yesterday, both Tom and Dean, and they both rolled their eyes when I mentioned the old youth center. There was a water main break, which I think I mentioned to the board at one point when they shut off the water main broke, so you'd have to fix the water main. All the valves and the plumbing for the shower area are gone, and there's a little bitty crawl space to get in and do all that. Everything's behind the walls, so you have to break out tile to get to any of the, I don't wanna say, the utilities.
and yeah, but all those costs would be borne by,
Well, we'd have to work that out, but he said to get it up to any sort of standard, it would be very hard and it would be very expensive. In towns where it's the building shot. I just don't think, in my opinion, that building is what we're looking at. Now, if we have some room at Job and Family and we can work something out, I'd be more in favor of that. But that's just my thought after thinking about it all weekend and talking to maintenance yesterday.
and maybe just to Tracy C. or, I don't know.
I don't think she just saw the article in the paper that we had offered this to the fire departments and the sheriff for training before we demolished it.
Right.
And
yeah, I mean, versus demolishing a building, which is zero for us then. I mean, be somewhat of a training exercise, because I would entertain that we consider a year-to-year lease, and of course, any improvements that have to be made to the building would have to be borne by your group. I mean, I just would see it's a senseless way to tear something down. I understand what you're saying, you know, Commissioner Wagner, of any of the improvements, the water main and so forth. That's not our responsibility. I mean, that would have to be taken care of by your group, and that I wouldn't suggest we would enter into a long-term lease in case there would be issues that come up, but a short-term lease, insurance would have to be covered by you, so the net effect to the county would be zero. I mean, we'd tear down a building that we're gonna, well, actually, it would actually be a slight savings to the county. If we tear the building down, it's gonna cost us some money. We're gonna have a vacant lot there. I know that maintenance mentioned they wanted the garage, so the garage would not be part of the program.
That's the other thing, they've cut the water, they've cut the power, and they've taken out the power poles around the building that had the lighting in preparation for demolition
Yeah.
as well.
But all those costs would have to be borne by your group, I would suggest. And I would even advocate that, I mean, because you do a public service, then not to even charge any rent there, because that would help them overcome some of these costs that you got. I mean, again, what we're gonna do with it is tear it down, so it's zero.
That's good. Would you?
Actually, there's somewhat of a cost, because it's gonna take us some cost to tear it down, so you're gonna save the county a little bit of money by not tearing it down. You have to pay, there's no negative side to the county, because we're not gonna have to pay for any of the improvements, and we could even help you out, would be my suggestion, by not charging rent, because that could help you make the improvements, and again, you're offering services to the indigent or people in distress within the county. So to me, it's win-win. I'm just one of three.
Is it possible that once she comes back from Oklahoma, that
Sure.
she can take a look at both locations
That's
and
what I was
then
gonna say,
discuss?
I think she probably would wanna look at
Yes.
this with you, look at those others, just to see and start to weigh out, because what those costs are, I don't know, cause I'm worried about them saying up to code, and it's gonna be easier than another, a
Well,
new
that's
pipe and
their
new valve.
cost. That's not our
Well,
cost.
no, I know it's not our cost, but I think that
Well,
might
yeah.
make it kind of prohibitive.
I would guess you'd be better
So-
off, if we have space at Job and Family, paying a little rent there, rather than dumping a bunch of money into a building that is still gonna be a junky building when you're done dumping money into it.
You might get water working, and you might have some other
But
things,
Job and
but it's-
Family, we
it's-
could potentially lease that out to another agency that would wanna expand. Pardon?
We've been
Well,
trying.
and there's a couple different sections, so I mean, there's
Yeah,
still gonna
yeah,
be some available
yeah.
space, and we still have a third building,
Yeah.
which is probably a little large. But,
I'd be more than happy.
When
I
she's
know they
back,
mentioned
when she's
that there's
back,
a
yeah.
group, and I would like to get it in the paper, because there's a group out to Oklahoma right now that's helping the tornado victims, and there's a website that's available where donations could be sent. What is that website?
www.iaocc.org. And they can, if they wanna give a donation by card, they can go through PayPal in that website.
So they can connect onto that website, and this is a group from Tiffin that is currently out in Moore, Oklahoma, I believe, or someplace in the Oklahoma area that's helping for the tornado victims.
Correct.
Did you get the win, Zach? We like that in the paper.
Did
Did you get the hint?
Story in there a couple weeks ago.
Okay, well, another one wouldn't hurt.
Tracy is coming back today, correct? Is that
She's
correct?
not gonna be back till next Monday or Tuesday. I
next
believe.
Monday or Tuesday.
Yes,
Oh,
right,
all right.
Monday or Tuesday, correct.
All right, well, I guess, why don't you take a look at both areas and see what you think? I guess my opinion is you'd be happier paying a little bit of rent in a good building versus putting much money in a junky building. Do you feel that's, look at both options and see what you
Okay.
think?
Have a look. Okay. Thank
Just
you.
call me whenever,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'll
Whatever
get you
she's
through all the
back.
buildings and.
Okay, thank you so much.
Any of the expenses would have to be borne by your group, though.
Understand.
No expenses to the county,
Understand.
and even insurance,
Yes,
okay, as long as we're legal to do that.
Oh, sure,
Okay.
sure.
yes.
All right, that all you folks have then? Okay, good. Either you guys have anything?
Yeah, I have something, I received a call yesterday, and don't know how to go about it, but I guess just to start, it's, and I don't know what jurisdiction or anything we have in it, but there is apparently in Fostoria, it's out of the city limits, that there is rumblings of a adult store, yeah, a strip club, I don't know how else to say it. It's in Fostoria that was, again, the mayor said it's out of his jurisdiction because it's in the county. And what can we do, what recourse do we have?
What township?
Loudon, he had called me, if it's the same gentleman,
Probably.
his issue was that, he thought that there was a law that there couldn't be any more strip clubs built or whatever, any more businesses that were strip clubs basically within Seneca County. And I said I had no idea, cause we went over on the phone and he told me where it was at, because Loudon Township doesn't have zoning. I had him-
zoning?
I don't know. I had him call Richland and ask if there were any permits for it to find out if it really was gonna go in, and I said if he needed anything else to call back, but I didn't hear back from him, so I don't know if
I
there
guess the
is
best thing
any.
to do is ask the prosecutor what option, if there is any option. I doubt if there is any. I remember when the one on the edge of town showed up, there was a big group that was opposing that. And there was really no teeth anywhere, but let's ask the prosecutor. Did you ask him to give us an opinion of if we have any authority in that? You're sure Loudon's not zoned? Because that would be the best.
I can go.
As if they were zoned, that takes care of that.
That would be their
But
best.
I thought that it
Yeah.
said that they weren't.
Certainly, I wouldn't want it in my backyard, but,
Yeah.
so it's a legitimate concern, and if we have any jurisdiction, anything that we can do, now's the time to do
I'd
it.
shut them all down if I could.
Yeah.
I hope they're always zoned. I just figured Loudon would be right next to
Oh, so-
Astoria.
Isn't the club, I call it Club 224.
Yeah, that's in Clinton.
That's what I remember years ago. Well, that's in Clinton?
Isn't that Clinton?
Loudon has no zoning.
Loudon has no zoning, okay, well, that takes that out. of the
Well,
picture.
let's check with the prosecutor and see if there is. We could certainly make it difficult for codes and following things to the nth degree. And
Okay.
Sorry for sitting in that.
no, that's, I didn't know quite how to bring it up, but
Anything else from you? Work session, Holly? I was gonna bring up the chaplain's court thing, somebody. Anything else from the public? Work session?
just last, I was at a TMCOG meeting last week, last Friday. Just a lot going on with infrastructure and road improvements and economic development and so forth there. I can't report on anything, specific, but was it my first TMCOG meeting? It was very, very informative, and all the things that are going on behind the scenes was put on by Jobs Ohio and Regional Growth Partners, and a lot going on behind the scenes to help economic development in Northwest Ohio.
In June, when's our next Route 53 meeting? That's pretty soon.
June
That's
14th.
14th.
June
Okay.
14th.
So that's a public meeting, and anyone's welcome. It's not our meeting, it's
It's a COG
the
meeting.
COG
Yeah.
meeting. So I assume they will do the advertising on it, but if anyone would like to come, that's at 10, 11?
11 o'clock.
Out at their office,
Mhm.
that's OESEA.
The old Kroger store.
Which at one time, may I ask, at one time you guys had the Kroger store. Is that public what happened there, or why that was not? Don't say anything. If you don't want to say it. I can tell you don't want to say it. All right, well, we're just a couple minutes from our regular meeting, but I don't see a reason we can't start. The press is all here.
Wait, can we stop so I can shut that off?
Yes, we can do that. You got that one working now? Good.
Good idea. We don't need Jake, we got 90 people.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Thank you.